Hey, how you doing? Hope you all are doing great. As you seen in the thumbnail, in this video, we are gonna see what if Neglected Naruto awakens ES clip mode. This is part 1, and before getting into video, I request you to check the author of this fanfic, and show some love and support. Name of the story is Naruto the Neglected by Miles Girl 16, do check it out. All details in description. And if you want next part of this series, please leave a like, share, and consider subscribe. Let's get into the video. Also check out Patreon for uncensored spicy content, link in description. A little blonde boy was running away from the mob of fox sticks and torches. Die demon, and other various similar things were said to the boy. The boy had tanned skin with bright blonde hair. He was covered in bruises and cuts. He ran and ran as fast as he could, but there is only so much that a 5-year-old could do. So they finally caught up and beat him up. October 10th was the QB festival, and as others like to call it, the fox hunt. Every day on the little boy's birthday, he would undergo the same thing. Not that they didn't beat him every day, but this day was always the worst. Being the Jinchuriki of the QB, the boy was seen as the demon itself, in human form. This boy was the son of the 4th Hokage and the Red Habanero. And yet they never treated him any better than the villagers. While their son was getting beaten by the villagers, they were celebrating the daughter's 5th birthday at the festival, not aware of someone missing. After the beating was over, the boy had enough. He didn't want to live anymore. He hated the village, his sister, and especially his parents for never believing him of the village's harassment. He took one of the kunai that were lying there and limped to the then deserted park. If nobody wants me, then I'll grant their wish, he said aloud. He took the kunai, and went to stab himself in the neck, only to be stopped by a girl. She was shocked that a little boy his age was thinking about committing suicide. What do you think you're doing? Why do you want to kill yourself? She asked. They looked at her in shock as well. He wasn't expecting anyone to be there, let alone stop him from killing himself. This village wants me dead, don't you know, so don't stop me and leave me alone. Sorry, but I might be new to this village, but why do they hate you? You look like a sweet little boy who wouldn't harm anyone. Can you please tell me? The girl pleaded. The girl was no older than 9 years old, and she had wanted to talk to him. She actually cared about him. He looked at her and started to cry. She held him, and he felt warm, something he had never felt before. So he told her about his family and the villagers, and said that he didn't know why the villagers called him a demon, while his sister was seen as a hero. He told her that he wanted them to train him along with his sister, but was always declined. He would always be locked out, and left out of everything. After he finished, he looked at the girl who was at tears due to his story. She couldn't believe that such a sweet-looking boy went through so much. When he saw her tears, he only cried more. She crying for me. No one ever did that, he thought. Do you want to be friends? He asked, hoping to have gained a friend, but looked devastated when she shook her head no, but brightened up when she said, no, we won't be friends, we'll be family. By the way, I never got your name. My name's Miley. My name is Naruto Namikaze. Wait, Namikaze, as in the 4th Hokage, Minato Namikaze? Are you his son? He nodded. She was beyond shocked that the villagers would treat the leader's child like that, and more that the Hokage would neglect his son for his daughter. It took a lot of persuasion from Naruto so she wouldn't go and rile up the village. Well, since they hardly notice whether or not you're there, why not come to my place? I'll leave a shadow clone in your house transformed as you and keep my chakra low to avoid suspicion. She looked at Naruto, who was fidgeting, as if he wanted to say something. If you want to say something, anything for that matter, you can ask me. I am your older sister now, aren't I? Smiling brightly he asked, I just wanted to ask if I could call you Nichan. Instead of Miley, she nodded in approval. Then he continued, and if you could train. Are you really strong? He looked at her waiting for a reply. Bro, where I come from, everyone sees me as the strongest and of course I'd train you. Now come let's go home. He looked at her with confusion. My home is yours now as well, remember? He nodded. Then she made a shadow clone, which then transformed into Naruto and went home. She and the real Naruto shined to her house, and what he saw was too much for a 5-year-old to take in all at once. In front of him was the most beautiful mansion that could ever be created. He looked in awe as they welcomed them in the front. As they came into the huge house, some of the maids and butlers looked at the poor boy covered in bandages and asked his sister if they should clean him up. She refused, saying that she was going to do it herself, but instead asked for a bath to be ready for him as well as a set of new clothes. He didn't say a word, but was still absorbing the fact that his new older sister was super rich. Surprise? Don't be, like I said, this is your house as well, okay? She said and received a nod from a still shocked little boy. Then she gathered all the maids and butlers and said, Now I want you all to listen to me. This is Naruto and he is now my younger brother, so I want everyone to show him respect, okay? They nodded, showing they understood, and then left. A maid came up to her and told her that her father was out and said won't be back in about a week's time. She nodded and turned her attention to Naruto. Come on, I need to clean and heal you better. What I did at the park wasn't enough. She picked him up in her arms and then went to one of the rooms. As he looked inside, it was the largest room he had ever seen, but wasn't as shocked as earlier, deducing that everything in the house was big. He finally decided to ask, as she cleaned his wounds, Ni-chan, can you tell me more about yourself? Everyone here looks at with respect and they look sincerely happy and kind people. Now Naruto was a smart boy for his age, it just wasn't noticed by anyone. She laughed and asked, Well, what do you want to know? Why were you at the village even though you don't live there? Well then, I guess I should tell you everything, huh? Well, first off, have you ever heard of the League of Assassins? He shook his head, no. Then she continued, Well, you see, this league is a group of warriors that kill, assassinate people who the world would be better off without. My father is the leader of the league, known as Ras Al Ghul, meaning the demon's head. As his daughter, I am the heiress to the demon. The league is greatly feared by the 5 nations, and since they don't have alliance with one another, they know they can't beat the league alone. Now, when I was about 3 years old, my mother, known as Serena Sheen, passed away from a horrible disease. Her final wish was for me to live in the hidden leaf and live a normal life that didn't involve with fights and battles. My grandfather, which you have to first promise me that you won't tell a soul. I promise I won't tell anyone. Well, he's the 3rd Hokage, Hiruzen Sarutobi, and so he was able to pull some strings for me to get in. I lived in the village for about a year. My grandfather was so kind and I was able to meet the rest of my family. You see, my father never liked the way of the leaf and even more hated shinobi, so he left the village and was declared a missing and young. He was then exiled from the clan, not that he cared thought, and so started the league. Life was going on great, until that fateful day. The 9-tailed fox attacked the village. So in order to save it, he sacrificed his life by sealing it into a child, who I don't know. After that, since the village was unstable, my father brought me back, and I started to train in order to become stronger. I guess you could say I blamed myself for not saving my grandfather. And that's my story. She looked at the who she just finished healing. I'm really sorry for your losses. Both your mom and granddad sounded like nice people. But why are you returning now? Well, to be honest, never really technically left. I'm still allowed into the village. I guess it's because I wanted to get stronger on my own. I don't know if you know, but they don't teach you anything useful at the academy. You're going in 4 years, right? Yup, That when my so-called parents said that I would be able to start my training. But you're going to help me now, right? Of course, these 4 years will be filled with hellish training, but sweet relaxing baths and delicious meals afterwards. Our chef cooks the best meals ever. They both giggled and then there was a knock on the door. Miley went to answer it, as it turned out to be a maid saying that the bath was ready and handed her Naruto's new set of clothes. Come on, our bath is ready. He looked at her in embarrassment, then she understood. Don't worry, we're siblings and still young. We haven't matured yet, so it's alright. If you're not comfortable, then it's okay. He shook his head and then they took a bath, put their new clothes on, and then went to sleep in her bed. It was the first time in his life that Naruto felt safe, at peace and loved. The next day, Naruto woke up and looked around. He wasn't in his dark cold room, but in a large luxurious room, on a spacious king-size bed. The memories of last night rushed into him and he remembered the most important things. I have a sister, someone who actually cares. He looked to his right to where she was sleeping, but couldn't find her. Where did she go? He thought. Calm down, kid. She whispered to you while you slept that she would come back. He looked around the room and couldn't find anyone. Who was that? Then he was surrounded by sewage-looking water and a large cage. Well, what do we have here? I guess my jailer decided to honor me with his presence. Single quote. He looked inside the cage and stammered, KQB? What are you doing here? Then remembering Miley's story that the third sealed it into a child, he understood. He understood everything. Why the villagers hate him and called him a demon. The thought he was the QB. I guess you aren't dumb, kid. Sorry you had to go through all that. But I'm glad that girl stopped you in time yesterday. Don't you know that if you die? So do I. But then again, you didn't know. Naruto just looked at the fox in shock. Can I ask why did you attack the village? You don't seem like a bad fox. Single quote. Kit, you're really something else, aren't you? Yeah, some blasted Uchiha started to control me, so yeah. It wasn't really my fault. Oh man, I just remembered. The third Hokage died because of you. What am I gonna tell Miley? She would probably hate me and— Stop it, kid. The girl is kind and she was telling the truth. Tell her, she'll understand. Now go back, some human is trying to get your attention. He came out of his mindscape and saw a maid coming to his direction. I see you're up. That great. I put your new set of clothes beside you along with a towel and toothbrush to freshen up. Is there anything specific that you would like to have for breakfast? Can I have some ramen, please? He asked. Of course, I shall tell the chef immediately. As she was about to walk out the door, he stopped her and asked, Do you know where Miley went? My lady went out in the morning saying she would be back in time for breakfast. It's almost 8 a.m. so she should be arriving once you come downstairs, she replied. Is there anything that I could help you with, my lord? No, but please just call me Naruto. He said, embarrassed that he would be called such a thing. The maid then began to giggle and said as she walked out, You are just like my lady Naruto-sama. He then brushed his teeth, took a bath and then went downstairs. As he was on his way, Miley came in and he was astonished. He was too tired to look at the girl last night, but now he saw a beautiful chocolate brown hair that reached all the way to her ankles. She had dark brown eyes or eyes since the other slightly covered by her bangs. Her skin was flawless and as he looked at her, she smiled a beautiful smile, showing her perfect white teeth. Who knew I was going to kill myself but then end up with such a beautiful sister, he thought. She looked at him and noticed that he wasn't moving, so snapped him out of it by pulling him to the dining hall. Namikaze household. The Namikaze household went about their everyday lives. Going to the backyard, you can see a red-headed woman cheering on her daughter, who looked like a miniature version of her. This woman was Kushina Namikaze and her daughter, Naruko Namikaze. At the young age of 5, she already started her training in order to keep her brother at bay, just in case he ever went berserk. Sitting down there on a chair was the Yondeimi Hokage, who his son was a perfect copy of, excluding the three whisker-like makers. He was proud of his daughter's strength and power at such a young age. As they went about as a perfect family, they all forgot about their son, brother, who also lived in the house but was denied training, being told his sister needed it more than him. As Naruto, shadow clone that was transformed, came out, he observed what was going on in the house. Miley's clone was going to see how Naruto's life was by getting first-hand experience. "Hey, Two-san," he said. His father looked at him and asked, "Yes, Naruto?" His mother and sister stopped and listened to the conversation. "Can I please train with my sister? I know you said I would train at the academy, but just a little. I promise not to get in the way, Naruto. I already told you, later. All our attention is needed on your sister. You'll get to train when you start the academy. But why does she needed it more than me? And why do the villagers always beat me and want me dead?" he asked in a sad tone. There was silence and then, slap. His face stung and he looked up to see his mother, who had slapped him, looked angry and said, "I told you over and over, don't lie to us. Now go outside and before I make you go to your room." She said, "Naruto, don't lie about the villagers. We didn't teach you to lie, did we?" his father said in a stern manner. The clone couldn't believe what was going on. So before anything could happen, ran outside of the compound and poofed away. "Do you think we were a little harsh on him? I guess I shouldn't have slapped him, but he lies all the time about the villagers. They are such nice and kind people. Don't worry, Ka-san, he's just jealous that I'm seen as a hero and not him." Naruko spoke up. As much as she wanted to be a brat, she still cared for her brother, but always wondered to why he would lie about the villagers. They gave her so much presents on her birthday. "Anyways, let's go back to training." And with that they resumed her training. Back at the mansion. As soon as the clone poofed away, all its memories went back to the original, Miley. And what had happened had shocked her. They would do that to such a sweet boy. And what's this? They're defending the villagers? Oh, these people have another thing coming at them and it ain't gonna be pretty. They were now at the dining hall, and as she looked at her new younger brother, she couldn't help but smile. He looked much more cheerful than when she first met him, but he had a worried expression on his face. "What's wrong, bro? Remember I told you that you could tell me anything at all right? No secrets between us." He looked at her and smiled. He didn't want to lose her, but wanted her to like him even as a Jinchuriki. He took a deep breath and said, "For better or worse." Told her about this morning and his encounter with the QB. He looked at her, thinking that he would see a face of disgust and scorn. But instead her face showed one of realization. "That makes a lot of sense. They think that you're the fox itself." "Yeah, no, as in human form. But still, that's just pure idiocy. You and the fox are two different people, not the same. Why didn't you want to?" She was cut off by his hug and sobs. She wondered why he was crying. "I thought that you would hate me just like everyone else. I thought that you would blame me for your grandfather's death." "I'm sorry," he sobbed. "Shush, it's all right. I won't hate you, I promise. It wasn't your fault, you were a newborn, right? Actually, between the two of us, I guess I should be the one saying sorry." He looked at her in confusion, and she continued as she wiped his tears away. "My grandfather put the fox in you, which is why you had that horrid life. I'm really sorry." "Nope, we didn't do anything. Let's just leave it, okay? Besides, he told me that he was being controlled by an Uchiha." "You mean the QB? Wait, you talked to him?" "Yeah, he seemed really nice." "Thought. Say after breakfast can we start our training?" "Of course. By the way, my clone just poofed away and I received its memories. Why don't your parents believe you when you say that the villagers want you dead?" "What kind of parents are they?" "Forget about them. I mean the Hokage and his family can do whatever they want. I always wanted their acceptance, but now that I have you, I don't care. He had enough and didn't care about his former family. He liked his sister and was content with what he had. They finished their meal, and as they were about to leave, one of the maids tripped over and the dishes were about to hit the ground along with the maid herself, but was stopped midair. Naruto looked around at the mind-blowing state. He didn't know what was going on until the maid thanked Miley. He turned and saw her head raised in the air, as she gently placed down the maid and the dishes. In an unknown language, "Thank you, my lady. I'm sorry for causing a scene." She bowed. In the same language, "It's alright, just be more careful later on." Naruto looked at her from the maid and then again to her. He didn't understand what was going on, nor did he know the language. Miley looked at him and smiled. She was going to teach him so much that the other shinobi in the village would envy him. "What did you guys say, and what was that power of ours? I've never seen anything like it. I guess I should tell you about my mother's Kekkei Genkai. You see, I am more of my mother than my father, meaning I inherited her clan's Kekkei Genkai. That involves demons. They were all slaughtered though, and when they were going to kill my mother, my father came in time and saved her. I guess that's how they first met and fell in love, but whatever. Anyways, the reason as to why her clan was killed is because they had the strongest powers known to humankind. When I say they can transform into demons, I mean humanoid demons. Demons with a human look. What runs through my blood is my mother's demon blood. I can't transform just yet, but I've unlocked most of my powers. One of them was what you saw earlier, telekinesis. Even if I don't transform, I could still use the powers. Other abilities I have are flight, and I'm also immune to poison. Call it weird, but I actually gain power from it. Then I started going out doing missions for the League, and because of my powers and my so-called attitude, when battling, I became known as the She-Devil. It isn't a bad name, but nah, I don't care. Oh, and I almost forgot, I also specialize in swordsmanship. It actually runs in my blood. Both my parents are well known as the best in that field. It's what actually makes people fear my old man. After my mother died, I took her sword and found out something really special about it. It doesn't kill people at all. He looked at her as if she was crazy, and then she giggled at his expression and continued as they walked to the combat field. Yeah, I had the same expression at first too. But my dad told me that my mother had a soft heart that didn't even go hard after witnessing the destruction of her clan, and didn't want to harm people at all. So what her sword does is that, if a person gets stabbed with it, they are in a state of suspended animation. Do you know what that means? He shook his head. No. It means that a person is in a state where they are alive but won't wake up. Like a coma, something like that. During that time, however, they are in an amount of unbelievable pain and torture and can only come out of it when a sword is tapped onto their body. However, in order to not fight again, they are immobilized for about an hour's time until they could move again. Then she summoned a sword out of smoke, and there was a sword that had the carvings of a dragon in green and silver. "This," she said, "is my mother's sword, the green dragon blade, and along with my father's sword, the Black Shadow. They are the most legendary swords in existence till today." After her long explanation of what she could do, Naruto just looked at her in awe. He already admired her, and now he just respected her more. "I have the coolest sister ever." "You sure do, kid. If you want, I could also help with your training. I don't like those villagers on bit, thinking that I'm a brat human." "How pathetic." "Hey Q, what's your real name?" "I don't think Nine-Tailed Fox is your real name. You're a bright boy brat." "It's Kuruma." "Hey, tell your sis to travel to your mindscape. We should both teach you to get strong." "Hey Nichan, Kuruma wants to meet you. He said to come into my mindscape." "Can you do that?" "Who's Kuruma?" "The QB." "Sure. Why not? And with that they were inside his mindscape. She looked up and saw a cage, and inside it was the nine-tailed fox. Hey there, little girl. Yeah, no, for a little human, you sure are quite kind. Who would have known that such humans existed? Ha ha ha. Anyways, sorry for your loss, but you gonna train this kid, right? Well, I'm gonna help too. It's better than doing absolute nothing all day. You know, you're not that bad, Kuruma. I guess you already know my name and sure you could help with his training. She turned to Naruto and said, Naruto, we are gonna make you into the most envied and respected shinobi that they ever saw. But first tell me, why do you want to train and get stronger? She thought that he might want to think about it, but he gave her a reply. An unexpected and at the same time expected reply. I want revenge. Revenge against every villager that hurt me and against my family who ignored me. I want them to regret what they did to me and make them regret ever neglecting me. He said coldly, Kid, you sure? I'm with you all the way, just don't change your mind later on. Okay then, let's get your training started. 3 years later, 8-year-old Naruto Namikaze was walking down the streets of Konoha. No one dared to approach him, especially with his sister, Miley. Over the past 3 years, she became known as the strongest shinobi in Konoha. After beaten ever Jonin shinobi in the village. After being insulted as a little girl, only a handful knew she could actually defeat the Hokage, but didn't want to humiliate him and was well respected by the other shinobi in villages for being able to finish S-rank missions that would usually take up to half a year, a week or two to complete. Her intelligence reports were marked on until the Hokage decided to give all intelligence missions to her. Becoming a Jonin at the age of 9 was something that no one had ever accomplished, making her the youngest Jonin. At first, when they saw her hanging around with Naruto, they would criticize her and call her a demon lover. But word of her being the daughter of the most ruthless and scariest criminal known to mankind made them keep their comments to themselves. As to her promise, Naruto became quite a young shinobi. At a young age, he already demonstrated high understanding skills and was able to learn many things fast. He was a master in every ninja art as well as mastering Kuruma's power. He was taught many different languages, and with that including the secret language of League, he knew a total of 10 languages in which he could speak, read and write in all fluently. He was taught by both his teachers everything that one could ever need to know. He also learned that the maids and butlers were all a part of the League, and so when Miley was away on a mission, they would teach him medical ninjutsu. The League taught a highly intellectual way of medical ninjutsu, something that he realized could help many shinobi in surviving. He met Raz Al Ghul, her father, a month later, and they hit it off right off the bat. Naruto found out that the man wasn't as scary as people said he would be. They both filled the void they both needed, for Naruto a father, and for Raz the son he never had. He personally taught him Kenjutsu, and on his 6th birthday, it became both memorable and heartbreaking for him. Flashback: it was his 6th birthday party, or should it be called Naruto's party. Everyone forgot about him again. But this time he didn't care. His father then gathered the attention of everyone there and said, "Thank you everyone for coming to our lovely daughter's party. I want to make an announcement that we are going to make her the clan heiress for both Namikaze and Uzumaki clans." Then there were cheerings and more gifts that were passed around. Jiraiya then let her sign the toad summoning, and that was when he had enough. He left the room leaving a slam and then saw Miley down the street looking for him. He ran to her, leapt into her arms and started crying. During his sobs he told her what happened, and she was furious. Haven't these people done enough? She was going to go over and knock some sense into them, but remembered why she was looking for him and shined into his room. There she wiped his tears and told him that they had an important place to go to. He didn't know where they were gonna go, but anywhere that wasn't here was good enough for him. She put on his suit, quickly fixed his hair and shined to their mansion. Once they got there, He took a quick glance around and noticed that the mansion was decorated. He looked at his sister, who was also dressed up. She wore a midnight blue dress and her hair was slightly curled. He wondered what exactly was going, until he opened the door and everyone yelled, "Surprise! Happy birthday, Naruto!" To say he was shocked was an understatement. What he saw in front of him was something he never thought he would ever have. His very own birthday party. He grinned, then smiled, and then broke down in tears. Not tears of sadness but tears of joy. The entire mansion was covered with balloons, streamers, and there was a large colorful and silk-like material banner that had "Happy Birthday, Naruto" written on it. The people all there were a part of the league, but he also saw a lot of famous celebrities like actors and actresses. The food buffet had every type of food on it, mostly food he loved, along with new recipes the chef made for him alone, knowing he would like it. All in all, it was a sight to behold for him. Come on, let's have some fun. I hope you like it, bro. Like it. Nichan, I love it. Thank you so much. Thank you all so much. Let's go open your presents, or actually let's wait till my dad comes. He said he needed a bit more time in getting your present ready. I'm really excited, aren't you? He nodded his head furious, and then the DJ started up the music. There was dances, games, and just the mere fun of actually be crazy. An hour later, her father came indoors, and everyone bowed at his presences. He gave Naruto a hug and wished him a happy birthday and apologized for not being here sooner. He then told him to close his eyes, and once he did and opened them, there in front of him was a beautifully crafted sword with the carvings of a fox. On the fox were the most rarest gems to humankind. Everyone there looked in awe, and as they looked closer, they saw that the edge of the blade was made out of pure diamond, the same as Ras Al Ghul's sword. I hope you like your sword. I could have sworn that I had enough time to finish it, but at least he was cut off by a tackling hug from Naruto. Thank you. I love it so much. It's so beautiful. Nichan, look, it really nice, isn't it? He asked happily. Yes, it is. You're lucky he made you one. He's too stingy to let make any for anyone. She was happy for him. Not long ago she found him weeping because his heir status was taken from him, and now he was laughing and overall just happy. Now it's my turn. I wanted to be the first person to give you a gift, but because she glared at her father, who had anime tears that his beloved daughter was angry at him, already gave it to you. She took out a scroll, and sure enough it was a summoning scroll. This contract belonged to my mother. She had a summoning contract with the dragons. They didn't just let anyone sign the contract. They believed that you had to be worthy of their power. I asked them to observe you while you trained with me for the past year, and they said they would accept you. They liked the determination in your eyes and your will to never give up. It's up to you if you want to sign it, though. She looked at him, and from the stars in his eyes, realized the only words he picked up from her talk were summoning, dragons, and powerful. She sighed and gave him the contract. To say he was thrilled was the understatement of the year. Not only did he get a party, but he also got presents, and on top of that a summoning contract. He might have hated the day earlier, but he loved it now. End of flashback. During the years, Naruto's relationship with his family never improved. Not that he cared, since he had a family of his own now. He still had to live there, but just until he was a genin. Then he was gonna move out and live with his sister in her apartment in the village. He already had his own room but had to wait in order to be a genin, meaning he was an adult. He became friends with the Nara and Akimichi clan heirs and saved the Hyuga clan heir from bullies, resulting in a friendship, secretly each other's crush. Hinata, just like Naruto, was thought to be unfit to being an heir, but her title wasn't taken from her. Miley made it upon herself that she would help Hinata in gaining more confidence, and also trained her as much as she could, since she didn't know much about the Hyuga clan's secret jutsus. Miley and Naruto also became friends with Hanabi, Hinata's little sister, who loved Miley so much that she wouldn't want to part from her. She, along with the other three, were the only ones that didn't fear Naruto as a demon and knew his real strength, which he planned on hiding till the Chunin exams. Miley, being the she-devil she was, tried to do so many fun activities with them in order for the other children in the village to feel left out and jealous. As they were walking down the streets, they were on their ways to the stores. Miley wanted to buy her brother new clothes since he was starting the academy in a couple of days, so she wanted him to look his best. Once they got there, she made him wear different clothes, until she found the perfect match. She ended up buying him in Ambu-style pants, a black tight t-shirt with a white open shirt and fingerless gloves. For shoes, she bought him the normal shinobi sandals. They left the store and on the way, she was tackled on the floor by none other than Hanabi. She, like Hanabi, loved the little girl to bits. She was sweet and adorable and wasn't afraid to speak her mind. "Hey there Miley, Naruto, what are you guys doing here?" she asked in a sweet tone. Behind her was Hinata and her mother, who walked up and apologized her daughter's behavior. "I'm really sorry, Hanabi, get up. You don't just tack people on the floor," her mother said. Her mother were one of the few people in the village that Miley respected because she didn't see Naruto as a demon and was kind towards him. Anyone who hated her baby bro was an enemy in her book. "It's alright Lady Hyuga. She's just taking advantage of the fact that I love her to bits," she said as she and Hanabi hugged the dear life out of one another. "Hello Miley, and hello en Naruto-kun," Hinata said as she blushed. Hey Hinata, it was so cute that they liked each other and yet didn't have the courage to just say it. The other three just looked on and giggled at the obvious scene. Her mother didn't mind the fact that she liked the so-called demon and actually encouraged her. "Daughter, we were doing last-minute shopping for the academy in a few days." We were doing the same thing, but for Hinata. "I can't go yet because I'm small," she whined. Her mother and Miley laughed. "Don't worry Hanabi, you'll start soon and then be the strongest in your class, right?" Naruto said. He, just like his sister, loved the little girl. "Come on, we have to hurry before it gets dark." And with that they left. "I'll take the clothes back to your room at my place. You better get going bro. See ya tomorrow, okay?" As much as she hated it when he went home, he had to in order to avoid suspicion and keep up appearances. "Okay Nii-chan, love you." She bent down and kissed his forehead and hugged him and said, "Love you too bro," and then went their separate ways. When he reached his house, he went in and saw his family already eating without him. This was something normal, and since he already ate with his sis, started to go upstairs when he was stopped by the Hokage that called to him. "Naruto, come here and eat with us." He looked at him with a confused look and then said, "I already ate outside," and then continued on his way up. His family, wanted to try to get closer with him when they noticed today that they were closed and he was pushing them away. Earlier that day, Naruko told her parents that she realized she never hung out with her and that she knew next to nothing about her brother. Her parents tried to remember the times they spent with him, but couldn't remember. Kushina broke down crying, saying that she was a horrible mother, and Minato thought the same thing. It was true that they had neglected him for Naruko because they were afraid that he might go berserk, so focused on his sister in order to prevent it. They all thought that they were going to change, especially Naruko. "I'm going to get my brother back." She had stopped her bratty was long ago, so you could imagine their disappointment when he shot them down. But they weren't going to go down yet. After their meal, Naruko spoke up and said, "Say Dad, if we were to let him train with us, do you think that he would accept? I mean, he always wanted to, that's true. Minato, we have to try. He would love to train with us. He always asked, but we would say no," she said the last part sadly. "Alright then, let's call him." Do you think he's asleep? He questioned. Just then they heard someone leaving the washroom, so they called him down. Naruto, come down for a bit, we have something important to tell you, Kushina said with hope in her voice. When he came down, he saw them all waiting for him and smiling, but he gave them a cold stare. They motioned him to sit down, so he sat. Naruto, we decided to train you along with your sister. Yeah, Ni-san. Isn't that great? You always wanted to San and Ka-san to train you, now they are. Let's be the strongest in the academy together, she said hopefully. They all looked at him with high hopes, but unfortunately it was shattered into a million pieces with his reply, I'm sorry Lord Hokage and Lady Namikaze, he spoke and said with venom, but the academy starts in a couple of days. You don't have to worry about me, your family doesn't need extra baggage to pull it down. Now if you excuse me, I will go to sleep. Then he stood up and was about to leave, but Naruto spoke up, Ni-san, what are you talking about? You're a part of. She was cut off when he glared at her with cold and lifeless blue eyes and said, don't kid yourself, daughter of the Hokage. I was never a part of your so-called family. Stop deluding yourself, he said, and as he started going up the stairs, added one more statement, funny, I never really thought myself a part of this family, and he left. The Namikaze family brawling on the floor in tears, all thinking the same thing. What have we done? But they all had the same resolve. I'm gonna get my son, brother back. Couple days later, Naruto woke up with a start as a voice kept telling him to wake up. And we all know who that is. The hell Q. It's only 6:30 in the morning. The academy doesn't start till 8. Listen kid, if you don't wake up now, the other people will try to talk to you again. It's getting really annoying, even for me. It was true. Ever since that day he shot them down, they wouldn't stop bothering him. They would try to talk to him at meals, or greet him when he came home. He was gonna snap, but Kuruma held him back. They also wondered who he hung out with. So when the Hokage's research turned up in that he was always with his most trusted shinobi, Miley, but when he called her in to ask her, she just glared at him and asked not to interfere with her personal life and then left. Naruto woke up, got dressed and then went downstairs and made breakfast. Over the years he bonded with the chef because he loved all his food and the chef was happy that his food was loved, so he taught him how to cook. After he ate, there was a bit leftovers that he covered and left it there in the kitchen. He left his compound just as Kushina woke up. She woke early in order to make a grand breakfast for her children who were starting the academy today. She was surprised when she saw her son and called out, Naruto, where are you going? I'm going to make breakfast. She heard a muffled, I already ate, then a slam. She sighed. She wanted to get closer to her son, but instead it felt that they were further apart. Kushina, what was that noise? She heard her husband say as he came downstairs with their daughter trailing behind him. It was Naruto. He already left saying he ate. I wonder how though. She said the last part mostly to herself and then heard a scream coming from the kitchen. They ran to see who it was and sure enough they saw their daughter. She walked away while Kushina was talking, eating a plate of food hungrily. She looked up and saw her parents looking at her curiously. Naruko, what are you eating? I didn't leave any food on the counter. Mom, if you didn't make this, then who did? It's the most yummiest thing I've ever tasted. Come on, try it, she said as she shoved a spoonful of the food in both their mouths before they could say anything. Their eyes widened with ever chew. It was true, it was the most delicious thing that they had ever ate. But the question remained, who made it? Then they all remembered what Naruto said and they realized that he was the one who made it. But how? Mom, did you teach Ni-san how to cook? She shook her head no. There was a moment of silence, then Minato spoke up, I think you should get ready Nariko. Since he'd also be there, then we can ask him. And with that they got ready to leave. Back with Naruto, He just arrived at his sister's apartment and opened the door and went to her room, only to see the familiar sight of her still asleep. It was a known fact to those who knew Miley, or experienced it firsthand. Like a couple of Ambu, that you never wake Miley Alghul while she's asleep, because if you do, you're in for a lot of hell. He looked at her and decided that he couldn't wait till she woke up, and so decided to do what most sane people dreaded, wake her up. Kit, are you sure? Don't you remember what happened last time when someone tried to wake her up? Images of the tattered body of the poor Ambu, who was ordered by the Hokage to get her for a mission, flashed into their minds. The very thought made them shudder. But it was getting late, and so he did what no sane living creature would do. He woke her up. Ni-chan, wake up. It's my first day of the academy, remember? You said you would go with me. Silence. Nothing was said, so he tried again. This time he shook her lightly, which was returned with a glare, but when she saw who it was, softened it a bit and asked, Oi Naru, what did I say about waking me up, huh? Are you trying to get yourself killed? Anyways, you wouldn't wake me up for no reason, so what is it? She looked at him with half-opened eyes that widened when he told her that they were gonna be late. She got ready in 5 minutes' time and then shushined to the village market so she could buy some fruits. Here bro, you're a growing boy, so you need these. She handed it to him and then realized the glares around them. This was something she had gotten used to, but wondered why she never just killed the bloody morons and get over it. But then that would mean her grandfather's sacrifice would be in vain. Okay, break it up. We all love Naruto, we get the idea, so move along. Some scoffed and was about to say something, but a sadistic grin from Miley shut them up. As they neared the academy, they were met with Choji, Shikamaru and Hinata, who just arrived. So the five decided to walk to the academy together. Once they reached there, they saw all the other children and their parents, including the Hokage. Everyone just stared at the five. As they were about to enter, they heard the others say, "Why is the demon here?" "Shush! Don't say that. Look who is with him. She's the strongest shinobi and is on his side. Don't play with him or go near him, okay? He's a demon." The Hokage and his family heard everything and couldn't believe what they heard. Their son, brother, was being insulted right in front of them. "Hey! What the hell are you saying about my son?" Kushina yelled. She was furious. One of the civilians then came up to the Hokage and said, "Hokage-sama, please don't let the demon be a ninja. He was sent flying into a tree." They all looked and saw that it was none other than Miley who did so. She went to him, grabbed him by the hair and said with venom, "Say one more thing out of your filthy mouth and I'll make sure you won't be able to talk again." Permanently, she let go and looked at the other civilians, who were shaking in fear, and said in her demon voice, "If anyone here says that again about my baby bro, I'll make sure you would have wished for death than what I have in store." Then she went back into the academy. The civilians, after a couple of minutes of staying frozen, walked their separate paths until it was just the Hokage's family left. Minato was shocked at the fact of what the villagers said about his son. No less with him there, finally snapped out of it and said, he was telling the truth. The other two just looked at him and said in unison, "What?" He looked at them with tears forming and said, "When Ji said that the villagers would harass him, and we would hit him and say he was lying, he wasn't lying. He was telling the truth." With that, Kushina started to cry out loud as she remembered the times he would tell then, and then she would slap him for lying. Naruko couldn't believe it. The villagers who were so nice to her were Satans towards her brother. "To-san, Ka-san, I'm going to class now. I'm going to protect my brother, no what happens, believe it." They nodded and then went their separate ways. When she entered the class, she saw her brother sitting beside a boy sleeping and a boy eating food. She wanted to sit next to him, but that was already not possible. She looked around and saw a shy, quiet girl and an empty seat next to her, and it was right behind her brother. Perfect, she thought, and sat next to her. As she came closer, noticed that it was the girl she saw earlier with her brother. She sat down next to the girl and introduced herself. Hey there, the name's Naruto, what's yours? Now Hinata knew the relationship of Naruto with his parents, but because she was asked by Miley to be nice and act as if she didn't know anything, she tried her best to smile and calmly reply, hello. I already know who you are. My name is Hinata. And with that she decided not to associate with her. But Naruto, being herself, continued, I saw you with my brother this morning. Are you guys friends? She didn't know how to answer that question. But luckily in came the savior of varied conversation, Miley, and behind her was Iruka, the teacher. Everyone admired her because of her accomplishments. So it would make people feel like the luckiest person on earth if she smiled at them or even talked to them. Unfortunately, Miley, hating the villagers due to what they did to her bro, wouldn't acknowledge any of them, except a few. Miley, what are you doing here? I don't think you want to come back here again now, do you? He sighed. Pust, Iruka, did you hear yourself? Again? What again? I've never came to this place before. Besides, I came to see my bro and listen to what you have to say to them. If it's useful, then continue on, if not then I have some scrolls one want him to decipher. I'm too lazy to do it myself. She shrugged and then walked towards where Naruto and his friends were. All the while, Iruka had many things going through his mind. Decipher? Who at this age could decipher languages? And who exactly is her brother? He looked up, he saw her walk towards the back but was shocked, along with everyone else, when he heard, Oini-chan, the hell you doing here? I thought the Hokage was gonna give you a mission. Naruto was first surprised and a burst of happiness was inside her when she heard her brother's voice, but it was destroyed instantly when she saw that he wasn't talking to her, but to Miley. Ni-chan? She thought what everyone thought. Sorry bro. Forgot to tell ya I asked for a day off. I remembered the scrolls I found a couple of months ago and wanted to decipher it. If Iruka's teaching things you already know, then see me at the back, okay? He nodded and then she went to sit at the back. Hey Naruto, isn't Naruko your sister? Why are you calling her that? Barked Kiba. Everyone looked at Naruto, curious at his answer. Even Iruka and Naruto, but were surprised when they saw him laughing in tears. When he finally calmed down, he said, Don't kid yourself. I've never seen her or her parents as family. He said with disgust. This got everyone wondering the status of the Hokage's family, everyone except Shikamaru, Choji and Hinata. Putting on her headphones, Miley started to work, as if it was a normal thing to do. She looked up and saw that they didn't start, so said, Yo Iruka, I think you should start your lesson now. I want my bro to come help me with this. Then went back to deciphering the text. Soon enough the class began, and as soon as the first subject was over, she motioned Naruto to come to the back. Iruka saw this but let them be, for he was curious what the Hokage's eldest could actually do. While the class was given work to do independently, he walked over to where Naruto and Miley were deciphering the scrolls and was surprised. He saw Naruto writing down the translated meaning down with ease, and didn't have to look at the books they had right by them. He saw them comparing and asking one another things, as if they were fascinated by what they found. This can't be work that the Hokage gave them. Does he even know about his son being able to read ancient languages? He thought as he looked over their shoulder. He was shaken out of his thoughts when he heard, Sup, Iruka, you finding our work interesting? She asked. I was just wondering, how do you know how to decipher such old and ancient languages? Especially you, Naruto. Now all eyes were on him. Even Naruto wanted to know the full capacities of her brother's secret skills. All she knew now was that it had something to do with Miley. My sister taught me. It's pretty simple really. And no, the Hokage never asked us to decipher them. He got a surprised look from Iruka, then turned to Miley, who nodded, allowing him to continue. it's something we do for fun, like a hobby. Some contain stories of the past, or cultures of extinct clans. Some even mention the existence of clans that no one knew ever existed. That's usually for two reasons. One is that they're long gone and the second is that they are in hiding. Nichan usually looks for them when she goes out for missions, so yeah. When he finished, they all either looked at him with respect, admiration, jealousy or didn't care. Yeah, right. Some demon like you wouldn't be smart. You backer, screech a certain pink-haired banshee. Yeah, Sasuke-kun is much better than you. Demon that and various things were being said by Sasuke's fan group, along with some of the other students, but were silenced when they felt a monstrous killer intent coming from Miley, which shut them up. How much languages do you know, Naruto? Iruka asked with curiosity, but was cut off by the bell. I guess that's something you won't know, right Naru? He nodded and then proceeded to pack up and leave. I must tell the Hokage about this. His son is a genius. He doesn't need to be at the academy. After the children started to leave, he saw the Hokage and his wife at the entrance of the academy, probably here for their children. He went up to them and was about to tell them about Naruto but stopped when he glanced at him from behind the Hokage and shook his head, meaning don't tell them. He didn't but wanted to know why his relationship with his family was bad. When he noticed them looking at his with guilt. The next day, Miley needed to go on a mission. So in the middle of the class she came in through the window with a stack of books and scrolls and said, in League language, I need you to decipher these, Naru. I did some and I think it's a story. It's real interesting, so hurry. In League language, come on sis. I wanted to sleep through the class. Can't we do it when you get back? In League language, no. My mission is about a week or two, give or take, long, and I want to read it when I get back. In League language, fine, but you owe me some ramen. Thanks bro. Oh, and don't forget to clean my place. You already have the keys. Hell, no. Fine. I hate you so much, Yano, he said as he grinned. She laughed and kissed him on the forehead and then said, love you too bro, and then shushined away. He turned to the stack given to him, sighed and then went to the back to work on it. They just had their entire conversation in the middle of class and went about as if it was nothing. Of course the three already knew and so wasn't as shocked. Iruka just had one thing in his mind. These are gonna be a really long 4 years. 4 years later, it was finally the day that the students at the academy would graduate and finally become ninjas. Throughout the years, Naruto would hardly be a part of the class and would either train with Kuruma in his mindscape. Nobody knows that he knows about the QB, decipher scrolls or just sleep. Iruka didn't mind because he would hit perfect scores on all his tests. He was later told by Miley, secretly, although Naruto was informed about the relationship about his family, and to say he was shocked was an understatement. So he agreed to only to report about his grades, only when asked. To keep Naruto shut up and the other class members, a genjutsu was placed over them, making it look like he was paying attention. The treatment of the villagers didn't any better, nor did the treatment he received from his classmate, but he didn't care. Today was the day that he would become a ninja, aka be an adult. Aka he could move out and live with Miley. He dreamed of this day for so long. He went into the academy, and since it was still early, no one was there. He took a seat and waited for the others to get here. Since they were going to take tests in ninja skills, the parents of the students were all coming to watch their children, meaning the Hokage and his wife as well. The past 4 years have been difficult for them when they tried to bond with Naruto, but because he didn't know a single thing about him and he never helped, so they were back to square one. Soon everyone came in and Iruka was going to start the test. Hinata came in and sat beside him. She also became more confident over the years and, like Naruto, is hiding her strength because Miley doesn't want people to know that she can train people, since she refused so many requests. Speaking of Miley, She became the village's beauty, with everyone asking for her hand in an engagement, but would be politely declined. She would literally beat the crap out of Kei. Some even ended up in the ICU. Naruto once asked why she didn't get a boyfriend, or even if she wanted one, which she declined, saying it would take too much of her time and didn't really find anyone worth it. Once the parents came in which the Hokage and his wife smiled and waved at Naruto, who in return just ignored them. This didn't go unnoticed by the other parents and clan leaders. Iruka started the written part of the test. Before he could say begin, all shinobi parents and Ambu there that were guarding the Hokage got into a fighting stance. Naruto first ignored it but turned around with a smile when he recognized the chakra and voice. Would you people be so kind and put away your toys? They could seriously hurt someone, said Raz Al Ghul. Everyone was terrified and at the same time wondering what exactly he was doing here. What do you want, Raz? You don't have permission to come in the village. The Hokage said. Oh, but on the contrary, I do, Hokage. Now this got people curious, some even glaring at the Hokage, thinking that he gave him permission. But before anything could be said, a voice was heard. To-san, don't you think you could have at least come with Miles? She said she was going to come too. Now you made a big scene. People turned their heads to see Naruto talking to Raz and were shocked, but not as shocked as when they heard him addressing him as To-san. This broke the Hokage's heart into a million pieces but also got him wondering how he knew him. Your sister was asleep and I didn't want to wake her. You know very well as I do what happens to a person when they try to wake her up. But don't worry, if she said she'll be here, then she will. I seriously don't know why you're still here in this bloody hell or even come to the academy in the first place, he said as he looked at everyone there with a disgusted face. To be honest, I would have left, but I have really important people here. And besides, before I make the villagers feel pain and torture, if my very existence to them fulfills that for the meantime, then I'll take it. Anyways, we were gonna start the written test until you showed up with your grand entrance. There are seats over there for parents that you could sit at, he said. They were having a normal conversation, as if nothing was wrong, which made the onlookers' sweat drop. Before Raz went to his seat, he looked at Iruka and walked up to him and did what no one expected. I apologize for taking up your time. You may begin your tests for the students as I won't interfere again. As you can see, I came to see my son take his tests. And then walked away. Everyone was beyond shocked. His son. But before they could say a thing, Iruka told them to start. After 5 minutes into the test, Naruto was done. So he flipped over his paper and put his head down. Many of the parents saw this and thought he was being lazy. But Iruka and Raz knew better and smiled. After the tests were collected, they moved outside for their ninja skills. That's when a lovable brunette finally arrived. She looked at her father and walked towards him with a glare. Naruto started to giggle along with his friends, which got people looking at them. Shikamaru, what's so funny? His dad asked, as everyone anticipated his reply. Dad, it's too troublesome to explain, just watch, he said and pointed to a scene where Miley held her father by the collar and starting ranting in the league's language. No one understood except Naruto, which got them looking at him as if he was crazy when he burst into laughter. Hinata, Choji and Shikamaru knew what was going on and also started to laugh, but not as hard as Naruto. When she finished her ranting, which was about her father keeping her and not walking her up, she shooed him away out of the academy, much to the relief of many there. To others though, especially the shinobi, were amused that Raz could go so low as being belittled by his daughter and look so helpless. When he was gone, she saw Naruto and ran up to him, giving him a hug and a kiss on the forehead. She then greeted the other three and went to go sit with Makoto, after being scowled by Iruka for making a scene. She was friends with Makoto since she went on missions with Itachi and Shisui Uchiha. But unlike any of the other girls in the village, she didn't have a crush on either one of them. She actually considered them her friends, mostly Shisui though. She saw Itachi as a jerk sometimes and would usually tell his fangirls where he was just to get back at him. As she sat down, Hanabi came and tackled her with a hug, in which she returned. "Nay Miley, can I listen to some music on your player, please?" she asked. Man, she was adorable. Of course. Here. Then she proceeded to take off the player strapped on her left arm and gave her the headphones around her neck. She hoisted her up on her lap, just as the kunai and shuriken throwing had begun. She felt a dark killer intent that was aiming towards her, and as she looked around, she saw it coming from Naruto's same blood but not related sister. She smirked at her and just ignored it. Naruto didn't like the fact that her brother was acknowledging someone else as his sister, let alone a well-known murderer as a father. She saw her parents' hurtful and guilty looks and couldn't take it anymore. They tried for the past 4 years and it felt like they were further apart than before. All she was asking for was a chance, but she didn't know why he didn't give it to them. It was finally Naruto's turn, and you could hear the laughter and hurtful words that were being said by the other children. A wave of killer intent from Miley shut them up as well as gave shivers to the adults, except Makoto. Hanabi making her father wonder how she could stay calm and continue listening to music in her mother. They were already used to it. Naruto smiled when he heard his sister cheer for him aloud. She could be childish at times, but that was one of the reasons he loved her. He took his stance and threw the kunai and shuriken, hitting a perfecting 10 as he left, leaving a silently shocked crowd of parents and students. This again got him some cheers from his friends, Miley and Hanabi, except Shikamaru, saying it was too troublesome but smiled nonetheless. The Hokage and his family were more or less shocked but happy he passed and proud. Next it was the fights between the students. Naruto looked at Miley, who shook her head. This meant not to kill any of the students and not to show too much power. He pouted but agreed. "Miley, who do you think is going to win the matchups?" "A lot of the students are clan heirs," Makoto asked. "Makoto-san, to be honest, the only people I believe should actually be clan heirs are the Akimaki heir, the Nara heir and especially the Hyuga heir. Every other one of them have an issue that if they don't resolve, would lead to their downfall," she said as she analyzed the current fight between two unknown fights. Now this got some of the C-clan leaders angry, except the said clans, but left the Hyuga leader confused about his daughter. "Are you trying to say that my Kiba isn't good enough to be a leader?" yelled Kiba's mother. "No woman. Don't put words in my mouth. I said if they don't change then they won't be fit. Kiba, you say, his downfall is that he jumps right at the problem without knowing what the situation is. If he becomes a leader with that brain, then you could kiss the existence of your clan bye-bye. What about my daughter, Naruko? She is the daughter of the Hokage. Let me cut you off right there, Kushina-san. First off, that title was taken from your eldest to your youngest, which doesn't make sense at all. This had different effects of shock, sadness and guilt by the people listening. Then she continued, secondly, your daughter boasts about her parents' status and using it for her success. Using accomplishments of others doesn't make you a good leader. What is going to do when she's in Kumo and tries to get free by saying, my father is the Hokage, imitates voice. It'll get her killed, that's for sure. Then what about my daughter? Says the woman. And who, if I may ask politely, the hell is your daughter? Sakura. Sakura Haruno. Who? She looked confused trying to remember who that was. Miley, it's the screaming banshee, said Hanabi, who momentarily took off the headphones and then put them back on. Oh, the screaming banshee. She's your daughter. Man, I would totally understand if your earbuds bursts. She is so freaking loud and it's so annoying. Especially since the only reason she's at the academy is because of Makoto's son. The only thing I think you should do is pray. Pray that she comes back to you alive, she said as she put a reassuring hand on the paled woman's shoulder and then let go. And why do you think that Hinata is fit to be the Hyuga heir? Hishi asked as he wondered what this girl saw in his weak daughter. Lord Hyuga, I don't think she's fit to be heir. I think that she's perfect. She's kind and compassionate and would only make judgments when she experiences the situation or takes to the person personally, not to mention that she is powerful. I bet that she could beat any Hyuga that isn't you on a one-on-one match, she said confidently. He looked at her with suspicion. His daughter, were they speaking of the same Hinata? WGO couldn't even beat Hanabi. She saw this and smiled. Hishi-san, there is more than meets the eye with Hinata. That's all I can tell you. Then turned her attention to the current match. The current matchup was between Sasuke and another student. Then she remembered that she didn't see Itachi for a while, so decided to ask. Say, Makoto-san, I didn't see Itachi for the past couple of months. Where is he? Did he go on a long mission? Now that I think about it, I haven't seen Shisui either. Do you know where they are? She looked and saw a sad expression with a mixture of surprise. Don't you know? Shisui was killed and she was cut off. What? Calm down. They say the one who did it was my son, Itachi. She looked away with shame, but looked back when she heard laughter. Ha ha ha. What has this village become? First abusing a little boy and now lying that a person killed his friend. Ha ha ha. Everyone just stares at her. Don't laugh, you brat. It took a lot for my wife to tell you that and you're laughing. How dare you? Yelled an enraged Fukagu. She looked at Makoto and saw her about to be in tears. No, I didn't mean it like that. Makoto-san, do you really believe that Itachi actually killed his best friend? I remember he and Shisui were best friends and nothing could come between them. Damn, this village is something else, ain't it? What are you telling me, that you believe he didn't kill him? I thought so too, but he left the village before I could ask. She said with a bit of hope. Makoto-san, I'd bet my life on it. Itachi and Shisui were my best friends. When I first came to the village when I was 4, they were the first friends I made, and hell, they were friends before that. She gave Makoto a new sense of hope. Hope to look for evidence that her son was innocent. Makoto-san, if you need my help, please ask. You sure be careful. In this village, there are dark forces that cover up such things, and I doubt that they wouldn't try to get you K8LLED if you find the truth, Danzo, she thought. Thank you. Sniff, thank you so much, Makoto sobbed. Miley held her and also cried for her dead friend. She finally snapped out of it when she heard the finally fight. It was Naruto vs Naruto. Naruto was going to use this opportunity to reach her brother. They both went into their fighting stance and were told to begin. Ni-san, let's make a bet. If I win, then you have to give us a chance, okay? She knew her brother didn't get any training. Even her parents mirkedat their daughter's brilliant plan, so she was bound to win but didn't expect his reply. And if I win, then you and your family will never bother me again, alright? She knew she wasn't going to lose, but the confidence in his voice made her shaky. She nodded and then attacked. She went in for a punch, but he easily held it and punched her in the stomach, causing her to fly into the academy wall, unconscious. Winner Naruto Namikaze, said a satisfied Iruka. He knew Naruto was going to win, but not so easily. He wished that he at least let the girl show some of her skills. His parents, along with everyone else there, except a few, were shocked. Their hero was defeated by the demon. Who will protect us now? Were what some thought. Naruto just left the field as if nothing happened and was greeted by smiles from his friend. He sat beside Sasuke, who who also knew about Naruto's true strength. Well, not all of it, just that he's hiding it. And the two had a level of respect towards one another. Then the Hokage gave his speech and handed each genin their headbands. When he reached Naruto, the boy didn't take another glance as he took his headband and walked over to where Miley was. Before they left, the teams were assigned, but all he heard, much to his disappointment, was Team 7 Sasuke Uchiha, Naruto Namikaze, Sakura Haruno and Naruto Namikaze. Jonam Kakashi and Kushina. Damn that Hokage. He's trying to get you guys together by putting you on the same team. He sure is using his power for the wrong thing. I know Q, where was that power when I was getting harassed the villagers? TSK, the nerve. He just glared at the Hokage and his family and walked up to them and said to Naruto, "Don't forget our deal," then walked away. She began to cry and cry because it was now her fault that they weren't going to be a family anymore. Her mother began to calm her and they walked back to the classroom. There the teams were being picked one by one. Finally Kakashi arrived. "My first impression of all of you. I hate you. Meet me on the roof in 5. And then shushined to the roof. Naruto did the same as he told Sasuke to grab on, leaving the 3 females in the class. When they arrived, Kakashi was surprised. "How do you know that jutsu?" "It's AC rank jutsu," he questioned. Naruto just shrugged it off and didn't reply. Soon enough the other 3 came. "Naruto Baka, don't just leave us there." Sakura screamed as she was going to hit him, but he grabbed her arm and tightened his grip. "Try that again, I'll make sure you don't have an arm to swing," he said with dull lifeless eyes and venom as she winced in pain. He let go as she nodded. "Well then, let's introduce ourselves and tell our likes, dislikes and hobbies along with what our dreams are. I'll go first, just like in anime. Now your turn, Pinky. My name is Sakura Haruno and my likes are *giggles* and my dislikes are Naruto Baka and Inopig. And my dream is Giggles." Everyone just sweat drops. "What a sad girl," he says as he shakes his head. "You're right about that, Q. Single quote. Now you redhead. My name is Naruto Namikaze. My likes are my family and this village. My dislike is that my brother hates me and my parents, and it's my dream that I'll bring him back to our family." She and Kushina look at him but sadden when he scoffs and looks away. What's wrong with their family? The others thought. "Say Naruto, how come the villagers call you a demon? I mean, it's not like you did something towards them, right?" Sasuke asks. He's been wondering this from the beginning of the academy, but because Miley was with him and he was afraid of her, he couldn't ask, thinking now was the best time. "Don't ask him such questions. Just know that he isn't a demon, he's my son," Kushina said. "I'll tell you." Which he got worried looks from the Junins and Naruto, since she already knew. Sakura wanted to know too. "My name is Naruto Uzumaki. My likes are my father Raz and my sister Miley. My dislikes are this village and the Hokage's family. My dream is to get back at everyone who has ever wronged me and protect the one person who was there for me in my hour of darkness. And to answer your question, Sasuke, the villagers hate me because I have the 9-tailed fox sealed inside of me. I am a Jinchuriki," he said as he looked at him. "But WHT would they hate you? You're literally hold the demon from getting out. They should be thanking you, not the other way around." He couldn't believe it that the villagers were such idiots. Naruto smiled and said thanks. He never thought that there would be someone like him in the village. "Another friend won't be so bad, right? It's up to you, Kit. Now leave me alone, I want to sleep." Lazy fox, and then cut the connection. After an awkward silence, Kakashi said, "Meet us tomorrow at the training grounds at 6 a.m. for your test." And then shushined away. Naruto looked at Sasuke, who was trying to get Sakura off of him, and asked, "Do you wanna hang out?" "Sure. Anyone else?" He hoped Miley wasn't there. "Just Miley and I think Hanabi." "Come on, Miley isn't scary. She's actually friends with your brother Itachi, and now that we're friends, she'll like you. He hesitated but then grabbed on, and then they shushed away, leaving a screaming Sakura. At train ground 7, you could see two brunettes, one short the other tall, dancing freestyle to an upbeat song and singing along. Just then, a blonde and raven appeared and looked at the awkward yet familiar sight. They didn't realize they were being watched until they heard a rather loud cough. Ni-chan, Hanabi, why do you guys always do this at a training ground? It's meant for training, not whatever it is you guys were doing, said the blonde as he sighed. We are training Naru, right Hanabi? Yeah, we're training in dancing, she said as they both giggled. Naruto just face-palmed and then remembered the raven beside him. Glanced to his side, there enough was the shaking and sweating raven. He was terrified by her presence and was internally cursing Naruto for bringing him here. Calm down Sasuke. Trust me, you'll remember this day and wonder why exactly were you scared. He whispered, gaining nod. They proceed. Ni-chan, I want you to meet a new friend, Sasuke. He has your belief that the villagers should be thanking me and not the other way around. Wait, you told him? Then he must be good. Hey there Sasuke, the name's Miley. I think I saw your match earlier. I can tell that you have a lot of potential. But Sasuke, she looked at him, I heard that name before. Oh yeah. Itachi told me all about you. You're his brother, huh? Funny you don't look like a jerk, which could be said for your brother, she said as she laughed. Sasuke just looked at her dumbfounded. This was a girl that never fanned over him, let alone his brother. He then remembered his brother talk about a weird girl who was like that. Ni-san, I think I found the weird but nice girl you loved talking about, he thought as he looked at her. Just then a shinobi Hyuga came to take Hanabi home, and after saying their goodbyes, Miley turned her attention to the two boys in front of her. Well, come on Naru, we've been waiting for this day for so long, remember? Remembering, they sped along to the Namikaze household, Sasuke right behind them. What are you guys doing? What exactly is today for, besides graduating? Moving, they said in unison and then took turns explaining their plan over the years. When they were done, they found themselves in front of the household. They went inside and were met with faces of Minato and Kushina. Naruto, we wanted to congratulate you today for becoming a genin today. But why did you say that your name was Uzumaki? You know very well it's Namikaze, his mother said. Because Kushina-san, from today on I changed it to Uzumaki. They looked sad, but he continued to taunt them. Why the long faces? I thought you would be happy to be related to a demon and extra baggage. Now if you excuse me, I need to go pack my things. He started to walk off but heard. Pack? Where are you going? This is your home, Minato started. No it isn't. It never was and it never will be. They both looked dismayed. Minato looked at Miley, who just smirked. You, this all your fault. What have you done to our son? He yelled. By now Naruko came down. She just missed Naruto as he entered his room. She started to listen to the conversation. Me? Hokage, you must be confused. I gave him a home. I gave him companionship. I gave him a family. I made him into the son you are so proud of right now. Do you know, that night on his 5th birthday, when we first met, he was covered in cuts, stabs and broken bones. I healed him, and in order to avoid suspicion I sent a clone. He told me about the villagers and how you people, his own family, never believed him. So I wanted to experience firsthand. And guess what? He was right. Do you remember, when I asked and she pointed an AC using finger at Kushina, just slapped him and told him to leave? Do you even know what he was going to do that night? So don't you dare say it's my fault, because it's all yours. They shrunk down from the ranting girl and slowly remembered that day. Just then Naruto came back down and as they were going to leave was stopped. Naruto, please wait. We're really sorry that we ignored you. And I know we made a bet, please tell me. Why won't you give us a chance? Yes please son, just one chance to prove that we're sorry. Please. Kushina pled. Do you remember what you would do to me when I begged you to train me or to spend time with me? I pleaded just as you are now, just for a chance let me give you what you gave me. He walked up to her, Kushina, and as she lifted her head, went in to slap her, but his hand was caught. Sai, come on bro, let's just leave. We don't need a dramatic scene everywhere we go. Sasuke, who watched the whole thing unfold, didn't expect Naruto to actually go and about to slap Gis mom. And with that they left. The Namikaze couldn't believe what was going to happen. He was going to slap mom, me, her, they all thought. Mom, are you alright? He wasn't going to do it, right? It was just a joke, right? She said as she smiled sadly at her mother, who was sobbing tears. He's right. Every time he would want our attention, I would slap him. He should have just slapped me. I deserved it. Oh, what kind of mother am I? She sobbed. Don't worry, if I get Miley to help, I know we might actually have a chance. Minato thought. He realized that the only person who could help them now was the person he trusted the most. As they neared Miley, and now Naruto's apartment, Sasuke finally spoke up. Were you really gonna slap her? I know you don't get along, but was it really necessary? I didn't really mean to. It's just my anger got better of me, that's all, he said as he laughed awkwardly and scratched his head. Come on you two, now that everything is set and right in the world, let's go back to the main house. I already got our baths ready and the chef is making dinner to celebrate your success too. Becoming Genin. He's even making desserts. Isn't that great? She squalled. If there's one thing that she was a sucker to, it was desserts, especially cakes. Offer it to her and she would anything you ask. Me too? Asked Sasuke. Duh. Of course. We're friends now, right? She closed the door behind her and they shushed to the main house. They were greeted by the maids and butlers. Sasuke was surprised that they were calling Naruto, Naruto-sama. What are you, royalty? He joked. Actually, yes. Since I'm her brother, he said deadpanned. Alright boys, I'm going upstairs so Naruto show your friend around. Come on. It's really big. I got lost a couple times when I first came but not anymore. Hey, can I ask you something? He nodded. Do you think that Miley would train me just like she trained you? He asked. He wanted to get stronger and knew she was the key to it. Well sure. But she has to see you determined. I don't know if you've noticed but the only people she's ever trained are me and Hinata. Oh, and she promised Hanabi when she gets older. She does have a soft spot for that girl, he said amused. Wait, did you say Hinata? I didn't know that, he exclaimed. That's because it's a secret. Oh well, even if Miley doesn't train you, you could ask one of the maids or butlers here. Why would I ask a servant? I think I'm far better already. He scoffed. I don't think so since they're all a part of the league, meaning they have that training. He looked at him and saw his eyes bogged out. He started to laugh so hard. Man, you should have seen your face just now. It was hilarious, he said in between laughs. Just then, maid came in with drinks for the boys. Congratulations on your achievement today, Naruto-sama. You can now live with my lady now. I'm really happy for you. She bowed. Thanks a lot, Alex. I've been waiting so long for this day. Oh, and I made a new friend. This is Sasuke. Sasuke, this is Alex, one of my special people in life. He said, grinning his fox-like grin. The maid bowed again and then walked away. She congratulated you on moving out but not on being a genin. Sasuke thought aloud. Naruto just chuckled and said, they all know about my problems in the village and that I'm stronger than any jonin in the leaf. It's why they all hate the leaf. Anyways, I'm too lazy to give you a tour. How about we watch a movie before Miles comes back down? They're over there. Just pick one and let's watch it, he said, pointing to a shelf that was loaded with movies. As Sasuke went through them, he realized that all the movies there were horror movies. What the hell is up with these people? Hey, what's up with all the horror movies? We both like watching them. It's fun, since none of them really scare us. He shrugged. He picked one, and as they were in the middle of watching it, Miley came back down, her hair soaked and a towel around her neck. Oh, you came out. Yup. Now let's go, you two. Time to take a bath. Oh, and Sasuke, you're staying the night. I already told your mother, so don't worry. Besides, don't you guys have a test tomorrow? They nodded, and just as they were leaving, Sasuke gathered all his courage and asked the terrifying girl, Miley, do you think you could train me? He closed his eyes waiting for impact, but nothing came. Instead, sure, why not? Remembering your fight, I could tell you have a lot of motivation and potential. But let me ask you, why do you want to be strong? He blinked. He didn't really know. Then he looked at Naruto and knew. I want to beat him on a one-on-one match. I know he's hiding his strength, he said as he pointed an accusing finger at Naruto. Alright then. That's actually pretty good. Two of my students as rivals. But you can't really beat him now. He has Kuruma's power all mastered. Unless what? Are you saying that there's a way to beat him even with the fox's power? Now he looked excited. Yeah, but I need to do a lot of research to help you. I think Kuruma can help too, right? She got a nod from Naruto and then turned back to Sasuke. Have you ever heard of the Rinnegan? Rinnegan? What's that? Is that like the Sharingan? He questioned. Do you even know what the Mangekyo Sharingan is? He shook his head no. Boy, did she have a lot to teach him. So she started to explain both eyes to the boy, and to say he was fascinated was an understatement. Did Itachi know all of this? He wondered. Yup, he did. Actually, he already has the Mangekyo Sharingan. He sighed. Don't worry, when I'm done with you, the both of you would be on a totally different level than the other Genins. They would be so jealous. She smirked and laughed evilly. The others just thought, pure evil. They started their training immediately, first starting with chakra control. She realized he was horrible, so told Naruto to give him some tips as she went to get a snack. When she arrived, which was surprising 4 hours later, he had managed to go up the tree in the back gardens. Then they started to work on the walking on water technique, which was relatively easy considering he had the chakra control done. After that she called it a day and told them to finally take a shower. They were given new sets of clothes, then came down to eat dinner. Sasuke was starting to fit in easily around the place. He liked it, and over the small amount of time they were together, the two boys bonded pretty well, talking and joking as if they were friends forever. He loved the food and oddly thanked the chef later on. Sasuke Uchiha thanked the chef. When they were done, they went to sleep for the next day. The next day, they woke up, took a bath and then came down to eat. Wait, we were told not to eat anything, remember? Sasuke said. It's alright. I've seen Kakashi do the bell test multiple times. It's just a scam. Besides, how would you fight with an empty stomach? With that said, he sat down and ate his food. Then they shushined back to Konoha. It was now about 8 a.m. They went to the field and saw just Naruto and Sakura there. You're late, screeched Sakura as she pointed to Naruto. It's not late if the Jonin aren't even here, little girl said Miley with disgust in her voice. Sakura just backed down, terrified of the girl. Where did you guys go anyways? Naruto asked. She didn't like the fact that Miley was here. That's none of your business, Miley snapped. They both had mutual hate towards one another. Just then Kushina came, dragging Kakashi by the ear. Sorry we're late, she said. Then saw Miley. She narrowed her eyes, you could literally see the words hate in her eyes. What are you doing here? She questioned. Hey, Does everyone here have a problem with my sister? Naruto mumbled. Chill out, would you? Why do all these people hate me? I mean, I know I'm great. Don't hate. Just answer the question. Alright. I was just dropping off Naruto and Sasuke. They spent the night at my place, and yes, Makoto-san already knew. Now if you excuse me, I have some research to do. She looked at Sasuke, ruffled his hair. Don't worry, I'll get all the necessary information. Until then it's our little secret. She winked and then shushined away, leaving a screaming Sakura. About leaving her Sasuke alone and a smiling Sasuke. Anyways, let's get the test started. He explained the test and the punishment. Now, begin. They all scattered in different hiding spots, except Naruto, who stood there with his hands in his pocket without a care at the world. The two Johnam sweat dropped. Naruto, aren't you going to hide? Asked Kushina. There's no point in hiding when you already know where we're going to be. But I guess that could be arranged. He then shushined away to where Sasuke was and told him of the plan. He located the other two and also told them. They executed their plan and managed to get the bells. They passed and so went to the Hokage Tower for some D-rank mission. They were given the mission of getting the demon cat Tora. When they were about to leave, Kushina stayed behind to talk to her husband. Seeing this, Naruto also stayed behind and said he would catch up. When they left, he turned to Kushina and walked up to her. She was expecting him to finish what he was going to do, but instead was shocked. He bowed and said, I apologize for my actions yesterday, Kushina-san. What I did was something of the spur of the moment and I let my anger get the best of me. He straightened up and looked into her tearing eyes and said, once again, I apologize. And walked away. Just then Team 7 came back, with Jiraiya this time with them, and looked at the scene of Kushina on the verge of tears and Naruto about to leave. What's going on here? Jiri said. Naruto, wait. I know we weren't the best parents, but please listen. There is no excuse to what we did to you. It was unfair and unjust. But please, just one chance won't hurt, right? Minato begged. They were shocked that the Hokage was down on his knees begging. Realizing what was going on, Jiraiya spoke up. Oi Naruto, it wasn't your parents' fault. I was the one who told them to postpone your training. See, your sister was the child of prophecy, so I told them to focus on her. Just then Miley came in the office yelling, Hokage, I have some boa. Why the hell are there so much people? Noticing Naruto and Sasuke. Hey there, little bro and little bro's friend. Aren't ya getting your first mission today? And why in the world is the Hokage on the floor? Get yourself up, dude. You're the leader. You're not supposed to be on the floor. Oh hey there, Jiraiya. How's OT been? Still being a pervert? Asked all childish like. Miley, can't you read the situation in here? Jiraiya sighed. Sorry dude. So what's up? The Hokage and his family are trying to get their son back into the family and he isn't responding. Kakashi explained. Oh, looking at Naruto, she saw his fist clenched and seething anger. She held his hand and as he looked at her, she smiled. Let it all out, bro. Okay, I know they don't deserve it, but let them know exactly what they did wrong. Let them feel the same pain that you felt all those years, okay? Don't worry, I'll stay here with you all the way. So just let it all out. He smiled, took a deep breath and then began. Do you really think that because you didn't train me is why I hate, no despise, you right now? They nodded, feeling a little hurt. Well, it isn't. You said that she prophecy child and I understand that you needed to train her. But did it mean to ignore me? Did it mean that I was to be neglected? To be forgotten? That even in the mornings a simple hello or how was your day son couldn't be spared? That I was to be seen as a liar? All I wanted was to be acknowledged, to know that my family still loved me, to know that I still existed, but then the very same family that was to take my side and doubted me, took the side of the villagers? Every day I would come home half dead after being beaten by the villagers, and when coming back home to a place where I'm supposed to see as a sanctuary becomes a living hell itself. You wouldn't believe me of the villagers' treatment, yet you still don't wonder or have an explanation to the cuts and bruises that are visibly shown all over my body. You're the Hokage. Isn't it the Hokage's job to find the truth? Did you look at the medical records in the hospital? How did you come to the conclusion that I was lying? Did you know that the very same shinobi that are under your command would turn smirk and turn a blind eye when I asked for their help? Some would laugh and even help the villagers. At the age of 5, when I meet Miley, do you know what she saved me from? Do you? They shook their heads, already sobbing. She saved me from myself, from killing myself on my birthday. The day where I'm supposed to have a party, presents, a celebration. Instead, I got nearly killed and didn't want to live anymore. But then she stopped me. He pointed and smiled at Miley, who everyone looked at, in tears. And she picked up the life I wanted to throw away. She gave me a home, a family, people I could rely on. She gave me a purpose in this world. She stood up for me when even the world was against me, yet she still stayed by my side. While my blood-related family chose to abandon me, my very first birthday party was given to me by her. She gave me her most prized possession, her mother's summoning scroll, showing that she trusted me, something you couldn't do. At the age of 5, I gave up on life and giving you a chance to make amends. At the age of 6, I decided to give you guys another chance. That led to my own humiliation of being stripped of my title of heir, and at the age of 7, all hope that you, my family, of actually loving me or cared for me disappeared. You say you want to make amends, yet you don't know the root of the problem. You say that I didn't give you a chance, yet I already gave you two. You may see me as your son, but just as flowers don't get to choose where they grow, children don't get to choose their parents. So please, stop trying. All it's doing is making me hate you more. He glared at them with a huge killer intent, half of his usual, and then went to Miley. The 3 family members, including Jiraiya, were sobbing uncontrollably. They didn't know that his pain was this great. God, they didn't even know he was going to commit suicide. Kakashi, along with the rest of the team, couldn't even believe that he went through this much. Even Sakura felt like crying after hearing his story. Single quote. No wonder they're so close, everyone thought as they looked at Miley hugging Naruto as they were leaving the door. Let's go, we have a mission to complete, he said before he left. No one really wanted to go on the mission after that, but the rest of Team 7 followed behind nonetheless, while still sobbing except Sasuke. But he had his head down, making people wonder just what happened in the Hokage's office. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you all are enjoyed this video. If you do, please leave a like, share and subscribe. Also don't forget to support author of this fanfic. So let's end this video here. Until then, see you in next video.